Welcome back to Hot Takes, boys. It's the MMA series I'm doing where y'all submit to me your controversial MMA and UFC hot takes, and we go over them. We see where y'all are at on the spectrum here. How hot of a take is it? Do I agree? Do I disagree? That's what we're here to yap about today. So as usual, boys, thank you so much to anybody who submitted anything in. So just getting into the first one we got here, man, coming from Biscuit Boy, all right? I'm not going to judge all the names, all right? I'm just here to judge the takes, but Biscuit Boy saying that Islam didn't deserve to move up to 170. He didn't clear out his division. Here's the thing, man. He's one of those champions where I feel like he kind of did deserve it, okay? Sometimes it's not just about really clearing out the division from head to toe, especially one that's as deep as lightweight and as talented as lightweight, and one that's kind of constantly evolving like lightweight does. I feel like Islam, man, he set the lightweight title defense record, and that right away, if you're setting the title defense record, I feel like that alone justifies you kind of moving up, and Islam Makhachev is somebody who is in a lot of people's top 5 greatest of all time. So I feel like Islam, what else was he going to do besides the Topuria fight? And even then, even as someone who I wanted to see that fight against Topuria, Makhachev versus Topuria, so goddamn bad, okay? Trust me, but I feel like still I get where he's coming from. That's the worst part and the part that fucking pains me, you know, because I do understand where he's coming from. He did kind of already have that test and a half, okay? I'm not counting the Chubby Volk fight, all right? That's the half, but a test and a half where he did face the featherweight king, you know what I mean? So I understand why he didn't want to stick around, because there's a good chance, I mean, I'm going to go with Topuria probably, but there is a good chance that he does lose to Oliveira. You know, he's still in it, and if Oliveira does beat Topuria, it's all the more reason to justify why he did move up. He wants someone new. He wants a new division. This has been a big goal of his and a dream of his for a while. And I feel like, listen, if he beats Saryukin, if Saryukin didn't just fuck up the entire timeline, okay? We could have been in like that Doctor Strange timeline, all right, where he's twitching out and everything like that, and he's in the one scenario, okay, the one out of billions of billions where the universe is actually okay. That's the universe where we got Makhachev and Saryukin too, okay? But Saryukin fucked up everything. So at the end of the day, he did take out Moicano. He did what he was supposed to do. He efficiently finished him. I mean, a guy who, yeah, he is really good, especially his jiu-jitsu, and all that shit, but at the end of the day, Islam did show that there's a level. He's the pound for pound king. He did beat up Poirier, who did make that fight competitive, so you could say it's an old man Poirier or whatever, but Poirier still made that fight competitive. And in general, man, he took out Volkanovski, took out Saryukin once already. You know, he beat the goddamn it Bobbies, the Bobby Greens, and the Drew Dobers and all that shit. Dan Hooker as well. That's aging really well since he's gonna come back. So Islam Makhachev, he did what he had to do. I understand that he didn't fight Justin Gaethje and shit like that, but nobody wanted to see that bullshit, okay? And then there's that Topuria fight and shit like that, but at the end of the day, he already did kind of solidify himself as the lightweight GOAT, if not the second lightweight, or the second greatest lightweight of all time, and he did set the title defense record. So I feel like it's justified. I'm going to count this as a hot take here, I'm sorry. Moving on, up next, coming from IIU, some SpongeBob shit. Are you ready, boys? I type shit, but I don't know how to say the name, I'm sorry. Saying that Merab 50-45's Prime Cruz. This might be a hot take here, especially for the old heads in the chat that are going to stand their base here and they're going to be like, oh, well, actually, you don't know a goddamn thing. Prime Cruz was something different. He was a pure marauder. He was taking on everybody left and right. Have you seen the Uriah Faber trilogy? Shut the fuck up, all right? Honestly, you could argue that Prime Cruz does make it competitive, okay, and it might not exactly be a 50-45, but if Merab is going out there and smoking the level of competition that he is now, he's 50-45ing Jan, and I feel like Piotr Jan, at any point in the past few years, would be able to kind of piece up and efficiently beat a Prime Cruz. So Cruz, he is one of the top 3 bantamweights in my opinion, okay? I gotta put respect on him. His legacy is there. He is very skilled. He's a fantastic striker, solidly well-rounded, great footwork, great fight IQ, great cardio, all right? But in general, Merab is the fucking man, okay? He's showing himself as the bantamweight GOAT in modern day competition. That's the difference. Prime Cruz, yeah, he was fucking shit up and being the absolute man back in the day, man, a people forget, man, kind of thing, but that was a decade or two ago, man. All right, maybe not that much, but at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying. The sport has just kind of evolved so much, and Merab is going out there and beating guys who I feel like would absolutely beat a Prime Cruz. I feel like a Sean O'Malley right now would beat a Prime Cruz, Piotr Jan, Umar Nurmagomedov, you know what I mean? And on top of that, like, the wins from Merab are a lot more impressive than the Prime Cruz wins, okay? And I understand it's easier to say that now or whatever, but if we're just looking at skill set versus skill set and stylistically how this matchup would go, yeah, give him 5 rounds, okay? I feel like whatever, more time for Cruz to work, but in general, I really can't see a world where Merab does 45 of them. So I understand a few of the old heads are going to be upset. Absolutely no way. Prime Cruz was something untouchable. It'll never be repeated again. I don't know, man. The sport is getting deeper and deeper every year. people are just evolving more and more. It's so hard to even get a spot in the UFC, let alone the rankings, let alone the top 5, let alone touch the belt nowadays. So I feel like, honestly, I genuinely could see with the cardio and the dominance and the wrestling from Merab, I really can't see him 50-45 in Cruz here. It might be a bit of a smudge fest. It might be a bit boring at times, but in general, I really can't see a world where he does it. You know what I mean? So I'm going to agree with you here, although, yeah, it might be a hot take. But moving on, up next, boys, coming from Tonko9766, saying that if DDP beats Khamzat at UFC 319, baby, he will be higher than Khabib on the GOAT list. Okay, now listen, this is definitely a hot take, and I feel like there's a solid amount of people, all right, especially from a mountain certain region, that are definitely going to be disagreeing with you here. But me personally, all right, I agree with you. I agree with you, to be honest. DDP, for me personally right now, if we're talking about the GOAT list, he's right around my top 15 range, somewhere between 10 and 15. Khabib, I have him between like that 8 to 10 spot. I think Makhachev already surpassed him as the lightweight GOAT. And I just feel like Khabib, man, listen, the dominance was something fucking crazy, okay? It was unreal. We've never seen it before. His grappling was really fucking good. He had good cardio, a good team behind him. His striking evolved so much, okay? He really did become a full-fledged, well-rounded fighter, but it was short-lived, man, okay? And that has to be kept into account. It was a short-lived thing. The dominance was unreal, yes, and the skill set was clearly there, but even the wins on the come-up, man, like you can compare DDP's wins over Brunson and Till to fucking Khabib's wins over like Al Quinta or Edson Barboza and shit like that, you know what I mean? And if we're just talking about the upper echelon wins, okay, I mean, Duplessis, he knocked out Whitaker, okay, he beat Adesanya, and Adesanya was making that fight competitive. He looked good in that fight, and that's the second greatest middleweight of all time. And then if he goes out and he beats Khamzat Chimaev, who's undefeated, has beat Whitaker and Usman, okay? Khamzat is just legit as fuck, and whoever is going to win between DDP and Khamzat, I'm telling you right now, they're going to be running the show for the next few years for the division, okay? Maybe for Khamzat once every few years, since he's inactive as all goddamn fuck. But you know what I'm saying. And then on top of that, DDP having the 2 wins over Strickland. I understand the first one was close, but even then, like, he's bouncing back from adversity there, and look at how much he improved in the meantime, specifically for Strickland. He went from fucking 48-47, that a lot of people thought he barely won or didn't win at all, to then 50-45ing him, okay? And losing a bit of that Looney Tunes-ness, okay? And really developing into becoming more patient and technical with it. And then when he broke Sean's nose, he's getting the fuck after it. And then going back a little bit to the sloppy days, going back a little bit to that Looney Tunes. I guess it was always within him, okay? My whole point with this, honestly, if you want to compare the wins over Whitaker, Izzy, Khamzat, and then the 2 wins over Strickland, I feel like that's fair to put it above the wins over Conor, the wins over Poirier, and the wins over Gaethje, who, that was a great title run. It was a great thing to do. He was already tied right before Makhachev for the most title defenses for lightweight, but it was just short-lived, man. We don't know what was going to come next with Khabib, and if we're just going off of the wins that he actually did get, the wins that he had in the come-up were pretty similar to the ones that DDP had, but DDP actually had to face adversity here. I know that might go against him here, but in general, like, we know that he's good at bouncing back from adversity. We know that he's really good at adjusting to his opponent's style and whatever the fuck they're going to bring at him. And again, I feel like the title run of DDP, if he beats Chimaev, you can compare it to the title run of Khabib and even put him above it. So yes, this is a hot take for sure, okay? Like, I understand that it's easier to say now that, oh, Khabib's wins, they're aging worse and worse every year, and oh, he's just going down on the GOAT list every single year. But the thing is, man, that really is the fucking case. Like, we just didn't see enough of him to really, like, solidify himself as a top fucking 5 or a top fucking 10, you know what I mean? So yes, naturally, when you have guys like DDP who are continuously improving, continuously beating the division and clearing it out and facing tougher names by the fucking date, yes, man, eventually Khabib's gonna go down and DDP's gonna go up. So like I said, right now, Khabib is sitting around like my 8 to 10 range for my GOAT list, and DDP's somewhere in my top 15, okay, somewhere between 10 and 15. But a win over Chimaev is fucking huge because it really does determine who the best middleweight in the world is, man. So nothing against Khabib, he had a great legacy, and this is for sure technically a hot take, but you're preaching to the choir here, man, and I'm gonna be agreeing with you, okay? DDP isn't just winning, he's surviving, he's a finisher, he's continuously improving, and Khabib improved as well. He still has a great legacy, but man, like, it's gonna go down slowly more each year, and I feel like a win over Khamzat is big enough, man. It's absolutely huge, to the point to where, yes, I would put DDP above Khabib on the GO list here, man. I'm gonna agree with you even though it's a hot take. Moving on up next year, man, to Otis Whaley saying that RoboCop versus Cannonier was a top 3 fight this year. This is a hot take for sure, but honestly, I'm gonna agree personally, okay? There's been some solidly fun fights this year. Merab versus Umar, JDM versus Bilal, Prohashka versus Hill. Like, there's been a few bangers, but this is one that's super fucking slept on, and I get why, okay? I feel like Jerry Cannonier isn't exactly just a name you're immediately just thinking of off the top of your head, but dude, you fucking should, okay? He brings it every single time. He puts on fun fights. He's a fucking dog. He's durable as hell, and man, he's consistently putting on banger after banger, man, you know what I mean? Again, there's an occasional fucking dud here and there, the Adesanya fight, cough, fucking cough, but in general, man, this fight had everything, okay? These guys got the fuck after it aggressive out the gate very early, especially from RoboCop. Again, he was getting the fuck after it, landing a lot of big shots. He wasn't afraid to get in the pocket, and he was landing filthy. He knocked down Cannonier twice in the first round in general, and once within the first minute or two, you know what I mean? So RoboCop was on the gas from the start. Again, kind of paid for it, but it's what you gotta fucking do, I guess, against Cannonier, but he showed how much of a dog he is. He came back, okay? And then that second round was immediately showing the experience difference here, you know what I mean? Especially at that top 5 main event kind of level, you know? It was RoboCop's biggest step up, and for Cannonier, it was a big step down, you know? So in the second round, Cannonier really started controlling everything. He was the heavy pressure fighter for that round, was really dictating the pace and kind of where the fight went. It was a little bit of a nice back and forth, but Cannonier definitely took that round and showed his experience, you know what I mean? And by the time you got in the third, it was 1-1, and yeah, the first half of the third was a little bit slower, but that's slow compared to the rest of the fight. It was still pretty high pace, but once the second half of the third round hit, man, Jesus Christ, I mean, Rodrigues was starting to get back into it. He was landing really nice shots, and he was kind of rocking Cannonier a little bit, but Cannonier showed a fucking level, baby, okay? And absolutely landed a nasty, filthy, slutty, I don't know why I worded it like that, but slutty fucking elbow. Absolutely almost took RoboCop out of there. Cannonier has really good ground and pound, so he was piecing him the fuck up for those last few seconds of the fight, and you knew it was probably game over going to the fourth, okay? And then, of course, ends in a flashy finish in the fourth round. Cannonier takes him out of there. So really, man, this fight has everything you could have wanted. It was high-paced from the second it started, all right? They didn't even take the minute to really feel each other out, understand the distance, figure out each other's range. None of that bullshit. They were getting right the fuck after it right away. And, dude, it pretty much has everything you needed in a fight, you know what I mean? There was a couple of times where Cannonier tried to take the fight to the ground or whatever. It was more so just because of the positions that they were in. You kind of wasn't even like Cannonier wanted to take the fight to the ground, but he just saw an opening, and it was better that than getting fucking rocked again. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like, but again, you don't have to have no wrestling to make a fight boring. Like, it's mixed martial arts, you know what I'm saying? But honestly, if we're just talking about purely fun fights, obviously a lot of us are going to want to see a bit of a stand and bang war here. So yeah, man, I honestly agree. I think this might be a hot take, but the more you fucking think about it, like, I think it really does deserve to be up there. Moving on up next, man, to No Bromo UFC saying that I think MVP could cause issues for JDM. Now listen, I think that this definitely isn't. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a hot take, because I feel like if you were going to say MVP could go out there and he would beat JDM, or he could take a couple of rounds off of JDM and shit like that, like, yeah, I do think that'd be more of a hot take, but causing issues for JDM, like, I definitely am going to agree here, okay? A lot of us, I feel like, would, because MVP, I feel like, is going to cause issues for anybody, okay? Whether you're a pure grappler, a pure striker, or somewhere fucking in between, you know what I mean? I feel like MVP, he's long, rangy, elusive on the feet, very good footwork, very good head movement, okay? It's really hard to get in the pocket with this guy and figure out the distance between him, because he's something different on the feet, man. And in terms of the pure striking, he's one of the best strikers that we fucking have in the UFC, pound for pound right now. So, yeah, I think MVP could cause problems for JDM, but honestly, I feel like he can cause problems for anybody in the division. The difference maker is, I feel like still a lot of the welterweights in the rankings would be able to beat MVP. It doesn't mean that he couldn't give them problems. He definitely will to anybody. It's so hard to figure him out, you know what I mean? Especially depending on the style. Styles make fucking fights, and some people are going to have a lot harder of a time with MVP than others. Whether you're a wrestler, I feel like it's going to be hard to even try and, you know, get in that close, tight-knit range if you don't have the striking to really even, like, if you're just going to purely smudge fest MVP, it's difficult to do. He's got good takedown defense, but in general, the striking battle alone, Shara is a great striker as well, and MVP pieced him the fuck up. So JDM, I feel like, definitely has all the skills, though, to beat a guy like MVP, okay? Because JDM is well-rounded as fuck. He showed how good the wrestling is in the fight against Bilal, especially on the defensive end, man. He was dealing with a lot of shit going into that fight, but proved everybody wrong, me included, that were doubting the grappling. I think that JDM had underrated grappling going into the fight, but he just showed that he was even a level above just simply being underrated. He showed he's absolutely fucking legit, you know what I'm saying? But if you're going against MVP, you're not exactly like having to worry about the defensive grappling in general. I feel like JDM, his striking is good enough, and he's also one of the best strikers pound for pound in the UFC. He's so fucking fluid, man. He lands all the right shots. He's a devastating power puncher to where I think in the striking he could be able to hang with MVP. I think he would be able to. It would be difficult at first to kind of figure him out, shit like that, but I feel like as the fight would go on, JDM would kind of keep piecing him up or whatever, and I feel like he has all the tools to beat a guy like MVP. He has the cardio, he has great striking, he has finishing ability, and he's got the wrestling in his back pocket, defensively and maybe even offensively, you know what I'm saying? So I do agree with this, but I wouldn't really say it's a hot take because it's kind of vague to where MVP's not exactly beating him and shit, you know what I mean? So yeah, moving on, up next to Javier Gomez saying that Ilya is a top 5 if he beats Charles, okay? He's an undefeated 2-division champ. It's only something that Ilya would have the privilege to say. Here's the thing, man, okay? Here's the fucking thing, you guys. I'm not really going to put Ilya in the top 5 necessarily if he does beat Charles. But, dude, it's kind of hard to argue against it, okay? He definitely at that point would have the greatest back-to-back-to-back wins in UFC history. Knocking out Volkanovski, knocking out Holloway, and doing whatever the fuck he's going to do to Charles Oliveira, who's one of the greatest lightweights of all time. And like you said, being an undefeated 2-division champ is something so fucking beautifully rare to where, yeah, Topuria is making history. He's making history in general just by getting these insane fucking wins. He's going from Bryce Mitchell straight to this. It's absolutely insane, but I personally would not have Ilia Topuria in my top 5, and the only reason is because I think that longevity is a little bit part of how I'm going to rank these guys in the top 5. Like GSP, we saw how he had to bounce back from adversity, okay? Makhachev, he's been around long enough to where he's racked up enough title defenses and shit like that to where people can have him in the top 5. Volkanovski obviously has really earned his way. I know Topuria knocked him out, but Volkanovski really showed longevity. Even beating Diego Lopez, he showed that even defeating the 35-year-old curse and all that shit, he's still in it. You know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of people could put Ilia Topuria in their top 5. If you're going off of purely skills, purely pound for pound, skill for skill here, man, yeah, I feel like Ilia Topuria definitely would be a top 5 fighter of all fucking time. But if we're just going off of resume, that's the thing that's stopping me and why I wouldn't necessarily put him in my top 5. He'd be in top 10 at that point, okay? He's to Ilia Topuria right now for me is around like that 15 to 20 range, and maybe even like 10 to 15. But the thing is, man, like I think longevity and seeing how people can still maintain that high level shit is kind of the difference maker here, you know what I mean? How they're going to bounce back from adversity, or even like the odds of somebody losing when you're at the high level go up and up every single year the longer you're up there, you know what I mean? Just because of how deep the sport is, and obviously when you're on top, everybody's fucking coming for you. But honestly, if we're not talking about resume here, and we're just, even if you are talking about resume, if you're talking about resume, maybe you fucking could put Ilia Topuria in the top 5. You're beating the featherweight GOAT in Alexander Volkanovski. You're beating the second or third greatest featherweight of all time in Max Holloway, and Charles Oliveira is one of the greatest lightweights to ever fucking do it. You know what I mean? So I feel like, yeah, you could put Ilia in your top 5. Skill for sure. But resume, it's going to hold me back a little bit. Okay. He'll be in my top 10 for sure. Just because I can't even fucking deny at that point, man. Like, again, being undefeated, 2-division champion. These wins are fucking amazing. And even the wins on the come up, you know what I mean? Josh Emmett, Bryce Mitchell, Yusuf Zalal, shit like that. Like, they're aging fucking well. So, yeah, this is going to be a hot take here. But honestly, I feel like I could see a lot of people agreeing with it at the same time. You know what I mean? So, moving on, up next to Mentality Greatness. That name is Aura, my brother. Saying that Paddy Pimblett is the most overrated lightweight and hasn't fought anyone in their prime. Now, here's the thing. I feel like Paddy Pimblett, in my opinion, is legit. I feel like his jiu-jitsu is really fucking good. He has finishing ability. He has a good chin. I understand that, you know, a lot of people want to be those hardcores and they're like, oh, I saw a fight where Paddy Pimblett got rocked on the regional scene. And it's like, this guy's chin is terrible. And oh, he got rocked in the early UFC fights. Get the fuck out of here with that, okay? He's proven at this point to where his chin is good, okay? And his striking has been developing better and better every single fight. So I think Paddy's skill set is legit. I think he's a really good fighter. But honestly, I could see why somebody would think he's overrated as fuck, man, because listen, he really hasn't fought anyone in their prime yet, okay? All right, Jordan Levitt, that's the last guy he really fought in his prime, okay? Yeah, because look at this, Jared Gordon, he lost to, okay, I think a lot of us can agree on that, but Jared Gordon is kind of a guy who, yes, he's underrated, but he's a win one, lose one kind of fighter. So then when you get to the, you know, kind of legit names or the rankings, or the names in the rankings that Paddy's been fighting, yeah, none of them have been in their prime. Bobby Green is on the way latter end of his career. God damn it, Bobby. And then you have fucking Tony Ferguson, who, Jesus Christ, I mean, this was like was he the last guy to beat him? Was there anybody after Paddy to beat Ferguson before he got released from the UFC? Michael fucking Chiesa. Okay, so yeah, it was a clearly very, very washed Tony Ferguson. And then you have Michael Chandler, who, Jesus, man, after 2 years off, and I still think it's a good win for Patty here, but yeah, it's a washed-up Chandler. So the UFC, and then if they give him Justin Gaethje, I mean, look, it'll be a great fight, and it'll be a great win if he does beat Gaethje, but I see the pattern here, and I see why people would say that Patty is overrated, because listen, they're feeding him old head after old head after old head, you know what I mean? It really hasn't been a lot of guys in their prime, so honestly, while I do think that Patty Pimblett is legit as fuck, I think he'll be hanging around that top 5, top 10 of the rankings for a few more years. I do think his skill set's very legit, and he's continuously improving. And especially with the UFC, you know, obviously he's one of their cash cows. He's one of their guys where it's like he brings name value. He is a fucking superstar in the making. So I do understand why they're giving him this fucking path. But man, that's the thing. Like, they are, not to break the fourth wall here, but they are giving him a path here a little bit fucking specific. I would be interested in the Gaethje fight, but that's another one where it's like, it's a guy in the tail end of his career here. Again, like you worded it, it's really nobody in their prime yet. I feel like a fight against Arman Tsarukyan, you know what I mean? Or some shit like that. Or Max Holloway or some shit like that. Somebody who's kind of in their prime would be a lot more interesting and definitely a more full-fledged test for Patty. But dude, in general, I see what you're saying. There definitely is a pattern here. There definitely is a trend. And Patty has not been facing guys in their prime. His skill set's there, but I see what you're fucking saying. So moving on, up next year, speaking of the lightweights in general, Multiverse of Malice, saying that Oliveira is the lightweight GOAT if he beats Ilya and easily would have the best resume in lightweight history, okay? And then he goes on to name all of them off here. Now, here's the thing. Islam Makhachev beat him within 2 rounds, and that was about as prime of a Charles Oliveira as it gets. He was on top of the fucking world, okay? Right in the middle of the prime Charles Oliveira title run and all that shit. That's the thing here. If you're just looking at his resume, I totally see what you're fucking saying, okay? Honestly, because like he went and named him here, a near prime Tony, prime Chandler, prime Dustin, prime Justin, prime Beneil, and you said that he arguably beat a prime Arman. He did not, brother. I'm sorry, okay? I know you said in parentheses, look up the rules. He didn't beat him, okay? Arman Tsarukyan won that fight. I'm sorry, but I see what you're saying, okay? We're not fucking counting arguably beat as part of a resume. I'm sorry, but in general, that's the thing. He is beating a lot of the guys where it was in his prime. Dude, Charles Oliveira beat Tony Ferguson when it fucking mattered. You know what I'm saying? So I totally do see what you're saying. And then when you look at Islam Makhachev on the other side, who is the lightweight GOAT, or I mean, even Khabib. We're getting Khabib the fuck out of this, okay? Khabib definitely is the second greatest lightweight of all time, in my opinion, but we're not, I was already talking about that resume earlier. It's nothing too crazy relatively here. And then when you have Makhachev, a Bobby Green win, a prime Charles win, okay, which is who we're debating here. That's my thing. A prime Volk, an off the couch Volk, a bit of an old man Dustin. I still think it was a good version of Dustin. There's a reason why it's a pick'em fight against Holloway, and Holloway's in his prime. You know what I'm saying? And Renato Moicano. I see what you're saying here, okay? I definitely think on paper, there definitely could be an argument. There really could, to where you could say Oliveira's the lightweight GOAT. The fact that he did lose to Makhachev efficiently. He had nothing for him in that first round. He was getting pieced up, and then he got submitted in the second. And that's supposed to be Oliveira's shit. He's the submission artist of all submission artists. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like if Makhachev just didn't go out there and smoke him, or if at least Oliveira made it slightly more competitive, I feel like I could see what you're saying. Because in terms of having a really good resume, Oliveira does have that. Especially if he beats Topuria. I see what you're saying, because that's that extra layer of depth where it's a former champion. Somebody that knocked out Volk and Holloway and shit. That win would matter a lot. And honestly, in my opinion, I might put him above Khabib if he does, not to just shit on Khabib in this video. I'm so sorry for the fucking few Khabib fans that we have here. But yeah, I might put Oliveira above Khabib at that point, because I see what you're saying. But the fact that Makhachev did beat him, I know that there's the Moicano win in there. I know that there's, you could argue, an old man Dustin, shit like that. All right, the 1.5 Volk wins, whatever the fuck. But the fact that Makhachev beat him efficiently as fuck when they were both in their primes, I feel like does solidify himself as the lightweight GOAT. And he also did set the record for the title defenses. And I know title defenses aren't everything, I know that, but when it's for a division like lightweight where it's so hard, where you had like Benson Henderson and Khabib and all these guys where they were just tied for 3 title defenses, and Islam Makhachev broke that barrier in modern day competition, that's the thing, I feel like it does say a lot. Now don't get me wrong, Oliveira is also still scrapping against modern day competition and beating a lot of guys, but again, he did lose to Arman Tsarukyan. I'm sorry, okay, he has lost earlier in his career before, okay? I'm not even counting that too much as part of this. If you want to go based off purely resume, I totally see what you're saying, and there is an argument there, but again, the fact that Makhachev beat him, and the fact that he had a longer title reign, I feel like that's what I'm going to qualify here. I'm sorry. I love Oliveira, but yeah, there definitely is an argument, but I'm definitely going to count this as a hot take. Moving on, up next to Nick Grizz. Gers, I'm sorry. I don't fucking know. Nick saying that Shavkat is the most overrated UFC fighter right now, and he loses to JDM, Bilal, Buckley, Brady, Islam, Prime, Usman, and he thinks that Ian Garry could win in a rematch. Now, brother, you're preaching to the choir, okay? I'm someone who's been very open on the channel. I do think that Shavkat Rakhmonov is overrated. And honestly, I agree with you here. Okay, this is for sure a hot take, all right? To everybody in the goddamn back, this is for sure a hot take, but it's one that I'm going to be agreeing with because I do think he loses to JDM. I do think he loses to Buckley. I think he loses to Brady. I think he loses to Prime, Usman, and Makhachev. And the only two where I feel like it's kind of up in the air is Bilal and Ian Garry. Hey, I'm not going to shoot a single takedown against this guy. Shavkat, he's a loser. He's going to break mentally. If you asked me a year ago, I 100% would have went with Bilal. I was making videos about it. When it was originally going to go down for that December pay-per-view, I was confident in going with the underdog in Bilal Muhammad, okay? Even if Bilal was going to fight Shavkat in May for UFC 315, I would have went with Bilal, even after seeing the JDM fight. I don't give a fuck. I'll still stand my base on that shit, okay? But now I hear they're going to be rumored to fight in like somewhere between October and December, or even whenever. But the next time that Bilal comes back is going to add up with the next time that Shavkat lines up, okay? And I don't know if Bilal would win that fight right now. I think he took a shit ton of damage against JDM. He's not getting any younger. I feel like he would have been at this prime version of himself going against Edwards and then going for his first title defense. So I do rate JDM higher than Shavkat. I think JDM would beat Shavkat, but I think that Bilal, honestly, he might lose that one. Bilal definitely has the style to beat Shavkat. He definitely has the skill set to beat Shavkat, but it might be a thing with father time with Bilal. That's the only thing stopping me there. Shavkat might be able to beat him. And Ian Garry, I do think that fight, listen, he did take 2 rounds off him, okay? It was a fucking stinker of a fight, all right? An absolute shitfest. But in general, I think Ian Garry could make all the necessary improvements to be able to beat a guy like Shavkat, okay? And just beat Shavkat, man, because again, the fact that he had his back, the fact that he took 2 rounds off him, the fact that he took that fight on short notice, too, that's the fucking thing, okay? If you had a full camp Garry versus a full camp Shavkat, maybe like a year from now or something, yeah, I totally can see Ian Garry winning that one, okay? I'm not saying that he doesn't. I think Bilal and Ian could totally fucking beat Shavkat. But the reason I called out those two specifically, I'm just not confident to where I'm like, oh, I think he would for sure beat him, But in general, I see what your fucking point is. I agree with you to where I do think Shavkat's overrated. I'm gonna count as a hot take. Don't get me wrong, it's a hot fucking take. I understand I'm in the minority here, okay? Shavkat's dangerous. He's well-rounded as fuck, okay? He has good striking, okay? He's good in the clinch. He lands nice to the body. He's got good grappling, but it's nothing too crazy to where, yes, I could see him losing to every single name that you mentioned, man, okay? So especially some of them more than others. So this might be a hot take, but it's one that I'm gonna agree with, okay? Don't be blowing out my fucking comment section with all the Kagastani flags or whatever the fuck, the Kagastan flags or whatever the fuck. I'm sorry. Moving on, up next, man, to Luke Lovett. I hope I didn't mess up your name, brother. Saying that Arnold Allen is the best fighter at featherweight. This is a classic hot take, bro. This is a hot take. I understand that featherweight is as shallow as ever right now, okay? All this Yair Rodrigues getting the title shot shit, and then you have Max Holloway and Ilya Topuria just left the division. Alexander Volkanovski only has a fight or 2 left. I totally understand to where you could say this take, okay? But it's still a hot take, man, okay? Even though I think Arnold Allen is very good, I rate him highly. He's well-rounded, has really good striking, he's got a good chin, he knows how to stand and bang, but he's got solid defensive grappling, okay? He arguably won the fight against Movsar Evloev. So yeah, I think that Arnold Allen is really skilled. I think one day he can get a title shot. I don't know if exactly winning the belt. Shit, maybe with the state of the goddamn division, but yeah, Arnold Allen is a really good fighter to invest in. He has a really good skill set. I think he can go really far. Took 2 rounds off Holloway, man. People forget, man, but in general, I don't think he's the best fighter in the division, okay? I think Diego Lopez would beat him. I think Alexander Volkanovski would beat him. Again, Evloev already did beat him. Very fucking close fight. Very close fight. And okay, a lot of people had Arnold Allen winning it, okay? Or at least you can make a really good argument for it. So I get it, okay? But again, I think Aljamain Sterling could even beat Allen, shit like that. So even though Allen could beat a lot of the division, okay, and even then, I just don't know if it's exactly a lock to say he's the best fighter at featherweight. Even though it's shallow right now, or becoming shallow, I guess I should say. I don't know. I could see Gene Silva beating him. I could see Aljamain Sterling beating him. I think that Diego Lopez and Alexander Volkanovski would beat him. And again, Evloev already fought him and made that fight really close. So I don't know. Allen is very, very good. Has all the skills to get back or to get to a title shot in general, and could really kind of stick around that top 5 for a long time. He's really young. I know he's dealing with an injury right now. I really want to see him back, but I don't know. This is definitely a hot take, brother. All right. I don't know if you know this guy personally or whatever the fuck, but maybe you got Arnold Allen. All right. You two having some motherfucking tea sessions, but whatever the hell. Moving on. Up next, man, to Flynn MMA saying that Ian Garry beats JDM. This is a hot take, brother. This is a hot take, okay? And this is coming from me, who I rate Ian Garry pretty highly. I fuck with how he's active. I fuck with how he's actually trying to talk shit, okay? It's cringy as fuck. I get it. It's a lot of fucking nonsense that's coming out of his mouth. But I respect he's going out there, trying to build up fights, taking on all contenders. He's fighting up. He's fighting down. He's actually doing high risk, high reward. He's staying active as hell. So I can appreciate about Garry. I think that he's really developing into a full-fledged, well-rounded fighter. His striking, it's good, okay? He has completely lost all finishing ability once he hit the rankings, you know what I mean? Besides Daniel fucking Rodrigues, who, we're not even going to talk about that, okay? In general, Ian Garry has lost the finishing ability, but in general, I think he is a good striker. He's really good at maintaining the distance, really precise. He's an accurate striker. He's really good at finding all the right shots. And with the grappling developing even more, training with Charles Oliveira, trying to shoot fucking takedowns now, trying to make the fight in the clinch a little bit, all right? And even he's getting Carlos Prates down a couple of times in that fight. So Ian Garry, and again, taking the back of Shavkat. So in general, yes, Ian Garry is becoming more well-rounded. Yes, his grappling is getting even better by every fight. He's still young too. He's like in his upper 20s or early 30s. So he's going to continue to improve. So yes, I think that maybe one day, one fucking day, maybe he could beat JDM. But JDM's in the exact same boat. JDM is exactly around the same age, if not younger. I know JDM's like 28 and just continuously is going to keep improving, okay? If Belal isn't really able to efficiently take down JDM, or at the very least hold him down there, I mean, and I think Belal Muhammad, listen, I think Garry's improving in the grappling, but he's no grappler like Belal Muhammad is. That's his whole fucking bread and butter. So in general, I don't think that Ian Garry will be able to beat JDM, man. This is a hot take. Again, I rate Ian Garry highly. He's a good striker who's developing into becoming well-rounded as fuck. He has a good chin. He has good cardio. He's got good fight IQ. All the shit you need for Ian Garry to go far. But JDM is a nightmare fucking matchup for him, okay? He's just as good of a striker, if not fucking better. He is better, all right? I would rate JDM striking better, and he actually has the finishing ability, okay? He lands fucking clean. He lands fucking hard. I don't even know if I said that right, but you know what I'm fucking saying. And in terms of the grappling, like I said, like Ian Garry is not the wrestler that Belal is, so I just can't really see Garry really just kind of taking him down or really shucking off a lot of JDM's takedowns and shit like that, you know what I mean? If it's a stand and bang fight, I'm going with JDM, okay? And if Ian Garry does try and mix it up in the grappling, I don't see him really getting down JDM, and even if he does, all right, all the fucking Craig Jones specifics training and all the bullshit and everything he's been doing in the meantime to really level up his defensive grappling and grappling in general, man, it's gonna show. And JDM has just suddenly become a nightmare fucking matchup for everybody, and Islam Makhachev, the lightweight GOAT, included. So if I'm saying all that, I just don't think that Ian Garry will be able to beat him. Maybe one fucking day if Garry keeps evolving, but JDM is just gonna keep evolving as well, you know what I mean? So maybe, brother, but this is definitely gonna be a hot take here. Moving on, up next to Emmanuel Niker. Oh wow, I'm bouching all the goddamn names today. Emmanuel saying that DDP will become the middleweight GOAT and a 2-division champ. Now, this is a hot take, but dude, I'm gonna fucking agree with you for the most part, okay? Do I think that DDP will become the middleweight GOAT? Absolutely. I think if he beats Chimaev, he's gonna already become the second greatest middleweight of all time, and in my opinion, surpass Adesanya. And then, I mean, Jesus, what does he need after that? A win over Imavov, and then maybe like one more after that over Baraujo or Fluffy Hernandez or whoever the fuck's after that. Dude, and then DDP's the middleweight GOAT in my opinion, okay? Seriously, I feel like, especially considering that Silva, title defenses aren't everything, man. They're really not everything. You have to look at a lot of who these defenses were against. A lot of people can't even fucking name more than 3 or 4 like Silva defenses, me included, off the top of my goddamn head. You know what I'm saying? So the Silva wins, they just age worse every year. A lot of people just rely on him having the title defenses to really keep him up there. But if you look at the names of who he's beating, he really hasn't actually beaten too many guys who are really elite at middleweight that are still being in the conversation nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Yes, the title defenses mattered a lot at the time. Yes, the wins were fantastic at the time. Yes, Anderson Silva is one of the greatest of all time. But dude, DDP, I definitely feel like can become the middleweight GOAT. Silva's legacy isn't someone that's just going to be never fucking surpassed, okay? Seriously, DDP beating Chimaev, beating Imavov. You could argue by then he's the middleweight GOAT. DDP has all the skills in the world to absolutely get it done. He's well-rounded as fuck. He has crazy finishing ability. He puts on a really high pace and pressure, okay? He's really good at dictating the pace and flow of the fight and absolutely anywhere where it goes. He's dangerous on the feet, has really good striking. Looney Tunes striking, okay? You got to put up a wet floor sign to make sure he doesn't accidentally flop into somebody and actually get some crazy KO, okay? But in general, the grappling as well is really fucking good defensively and offensively, okay? To where DDP is a nightmare matchup for everybody. Like I said earlier, whoever wins versus DDP and Chimaev, I feel like it's going to run the division for years to come. So yes, I agree with you that DDP will become the middleweight GOAT. I'm fucking confident in it, to be honest with you, okay? And I'm a huge DDP fan. But the 2-division champion thing is where I'm not sure. DDP is really big for the weight class, okay? So technically, yes, he can move up to light heavyweight. And I feel like he would do really well up there, to be honest with you. Like, light heavyweight is one of the more shallow divisions in the UFC. It's not exactly excelling in depth of competition and all that bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Or the highest level of thing we've ever seen. And especially the middleweight division, it's deeper. The competition's better. They move faster. They still hit fucking hard, you know what I mean? So I feel like DDP would do well at light heavyweight. I just am not super confident to where he would become a 2-division champ. I don't know if he beats a Magomed Ankalaev and shit like that. I would like to assume that he would, but I just don't fucking know. You know what I mean? I don't know how the size differential is going to do up there. I don't know how exactly he fits at the weight class and shit. Again, he's a really big guy for middleweight, so he could definitely make the move up. I'm just not confident enough to where the point where I'm not going to say he will become a 2-division champion. He definitely has all the skills to get it done. He definitely can, especially because he's young as fuck and continuously improving, okay? I can see him becoming 2-division champ. I'm going to count that as the hot take, though, okay? This in general, yes, it's a hot take, but I agree with you for him becoming the middleweight GOAT, okay? I'm just still not sure about the 2-division champ part, okay? Moving on up last here, man, to Wolf Fuel saying that Islam surpasses Jones on the GOAT list if he wins the welterweight belt, even if he doesn't defend it. This is a hot take. This is a hot take for sure, okay? But honestly, I can see where you're coming from. Jon Jones, I fucking cannot stand this dude. He's the only fighter on the roster. I just genuinely dislike the fuck out of him. I fucking hate this dude. He's terrible for the sport. I can't stand the dude. He's a terrible representation. I want him the fuck out of here. I already fucking felt this way with a passion before all this Tom Aspinall shit. Before the Tom Aspinall bullshit, installing the division, installing his career off in Thailand, sniffing dudes' hair and shit. Fuck that. So yeah, Jon Jones, I fucking can't stand the dude, all right? But honestly, he is the GOAT. He's the GOAT. I hate it. I hate to say it, but in my opinion, he is the GOAT. Islam Makhachev is number 3 for me right now. I have GSP above him and Jon Jones. If Islam Makhachev does win the welterweight belt, he'll become number 2 for me, so I'll have him surpassing GSP at that point. But with Jon Jones, the thing is the longevity is a real fucking thing, okay? He's been around the sport in like every single decade it's been around. The 2000s, the 2010s, the fucking, the 2020s. I don't know why I started on the one that we're in right now, but the 2020s, you know what I'm saying? So Jon Jones, I would love for Islam Makhachev to surpass him. But in my opinion, he just needs one more, okay? Maybe even 2, I don't fucking know, to surpass Jon Jones, okay? Listen, I see what you're saying, and so badly, okay? As someone who likes Makhachev and despises Jon Jones, I want to agree with you here. And I do think that him winning the welterweight belt will be huge for him. Even if he doesn't defend it and retires, he definitely will already have cemented himself as a top 3, top 5, whatever the fuck, top 2, top 1 fighter of all time. But in order to become a solidified the GOAT of the sport, okay? Just the person that we refer to as the GOAT of the sport, like the way we do with Jon Jones, okay? I feel like he just needs a little bit more, okay? And fuck Arman Tsarukyan, he fucked everything up, bro, okay? Because that extra win over Tsarukyan definitely would have helped even more. If he was able to fight Ilia Topuria, that would have helped even more. I just think he needs to either like defend the welterweight belt at least once, just fucking something, or, I don't know, moves back down to fucking lightweight at least once, and then maybe faces the... If Ilia Topuria wins, maybe he faces him, okay? But if Charles Oliveira wins, then yeah, maybe he sticks at welterweight. I don't know. I definitely see what you're saying. I want to fucking agree with you here. There's a really good argument for it. Jon Jones has a great resume. Islam Makhachev has a great resume. Islam Makhachev has actually done it against modern-day competition, too. The only modern-day wins that Jon Jones has, I'm not counting old man Stipe, all right, is going to be Ciryl Gane. And Ciryl Gane, I do not rate highly. A lot of us don't rate him highly. He's not the first person to exactly walk through fucking Ciryl Gane, okay? Volkov beat him. Ngannou beat him, okay? Yes, it wasn't as impressive as Jon Jones did it, but in general, Gane is beatable. He wasn't the fucking man for when Jon Jones beat him. So I don't know. He doesn't really have any too many modern day wins. And go back to like when he was having that like 2019, 2018, 2020 title run. He he lost to Dominic Reyes, okay? He fucking robbed Dominic Reyes. He's beating Anthony Smith. Anthony fucking Smith. Thiago Santos in a really close fight in general. Like, I don't know, man. Jon Jones, he definitely will be able to be surpassed one day, okay? And Islam Makhachev definitely can be the guy to do it. He has the skill set. He has the resume, okay? He's still relatively in his prime here. So, yes, I want to see Makhachev do it. He definitely can, but in my opinion, he needs to defend the welterweight belt at least once if I'm going to call him the GOAT of the sport. Because that's a heavy title. Being a top 5 GOAT, that's already hard enough. Top 3, top 2, it's already fucking hard enough and rare enough to do. But the thing is, man, it just becoming the GOAT, all right, and as easily as people just refer to it like they do with Jon Jones, I think he needs a little bit more of that depth, okay? I want to agree with you here, but unfortunately, my brother, it is going to be a hot take, okay? Hopefully, Makhachev can get it done. He has all the tools to, but yeah, this is going to be a hot take here, man. And that is going to be it here for the video, boys. Thank you so very much for making this far and tuning in. Really, really appreciate y'all. Please give this video a like, and please hit subscribe. We just hit 1,000 subscribers. It means the absolute fucking world to me. Appreciate y'all so very much. Leave your opinions in the comments below, man. Let me know what you think of this video in the comments below. Let me know what you think of a lot of these hot takes. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Give me your hot takes in the comments below, man. I'd absolutely love to fucking hear it. So all the smoke here. Appreciate y'all so much. Hope you guys have a good one, boys. We're in for a fucking stinger of a card this weekend, but hopefully it'll be something fun. One of those random Apex cards where it's just like finish, finish, finish. It's probably what it's going to be. So appreciate y'all a lot. All the smoke here. Thank you so very much for making it this far. Hope you have a good one, and I will see you all next time.